politically incorrect segment tonight. The speech police are making the rounds on college campuses, and we, the taxpayers, are paying for them. 232 college campuses across the country are rolling out bias response teams, which aim to find the subtle slights and microaggressions that make college students feel unsafe. 42% of these bias response teams include law enforcement officials, meaning our tax dollars are actually funding actual speech police. With me now, former Trump campaign surrogate, Republican strategist Scottie Nell Hughes. Scottie, good to see you.
Oh, thank you for having me. And let me just say this. I think if you looked in the dictionary and a thesaurus, the opposite of snowflake, you would see your picture. I'm just saying.
Well, that's very sweet of you. But this story, I mean, this is ridiculous. It's one thing for college students to say they feel unsafe, they want to live in their own little bubble here, but to actually have our tax dollars funding law enforcement officials that respond when they feel unsafe because of words that are used against them, I mean, it's like you can't even make this stuff up.
Well, it's insulting to law enforcement, number one. I mean, the whole goal of campus police is to keep people safe. And last time I checked, sticks and stones may break bones, but words will never hurt me. I think that still exists today. So let's get our snowflakes out of their safe space. And that is what you're supposed to do in college. You're supposed to expand your horizon and have an open mind. But like has been throughout history, liberals, progressives, and Democrats are usually the most close-minded and the first one to call for mommy when they've left that first night on campus.
Right, and I guess this is my question. If a student called one of these bias response teams, and they showed up in full uniform, I mean, what do they do? Do they bring along like a balloon and a pony to help them feel better? What do they even do when they respond to these reports?
Well, I imagine if they're going to have a special police force, they need to kind of look like Ronald McDonald or the clowns from the circus, because that's what I would expect them to be like. I would show up and just start laughing. Actually, I think good conservatives like yourself and we should volunteer to be this policeman. Yes, we will show up to your dorm room, poor little snowflake, and we will laugh at you because that's what the real world is going to do to you. And then we're going to come in and we're going to take 1/4 of all your items and give it to somebody else, because that's what Democrats like to do as well. Welcome to the real world, snowflake.
Right, that might be a good college class for some of these kids. They have absolutely no idea. All right, this is pretty interesting. This was a study done by Dartmouth College. They asked students how comfortable they were on a scale of comfortable, neutral, or uncomfortable. How comfortable were they living with a roommate of the opposite politics of them? This is, well, I guess not that shocking. I mean, it's always shocking, never surprising. Only 39% of Democrats said that they were comfortable living with a Republican. 45% said they were uncomfortable living with Republicans.
And what's funny about this is the same school that produced, I think, Dinesh D'Souza, Laura Ingraham, and other great conservative mindsets. Obviously, times have changed at Dartmouth. Listen, I am all for checking a box. In fact, it might actually be a good idea, not necessarily to protect the progressives, but to protect the conservatives of when you're registering for your dorm. Are you a Republican or a Democrat? Heck, I have to do that now just when I go to eat to make sure that my waiter and waitress does not, are you going to spit in my food or not when you realize that I supported Trump? That's unfortunate, but let's make sure it's both sides. Let's not just continue to demonize conservatives who, last time I checked, we weren't the one rioting and trashing property, college campus property, when somebody we didn't agree with came to speak.
Right, and the Republican response to this survey is 69% of Republicans said that they were cool living with a liberal. Only 12% of Republicans said that they would prefer not to live with a liberal. And honestly, as a whole, I don't have a problem with that. A lot of people, I mean, even after college, they try to find roommates with similar values, similar lifestyle habits, because you do get along better. But this is different, I think. This speaks to the idea of diversity. This speaks to the idea of tolerance. Liberals preach tolerance, but they don't really mean that. All they mean by tolerance is they want to get away with whatever they want to do, whatever they want to say, with no repercussions.
It's the hypocrisy standard, but what else would you expect from people when their leaders are Elizabeth Warren, who pays the men on their staff 72% more than they paid the females on her staff, or Hillary Clinton, who did the same when she was a senator. I mean, that's what the hypocrisy, which is, I think, the new phrase, the new word that describes the Democratic Party most today, and hence why you're seeing the troubles and the chaos existing within their party, because they don't know what the truth is.
No, they don't. And I mean, if you talk about liberal privilege here, we hear things hurled at us all the time. White privilege, female privilege, whatever, rich privilege, all kinds of ridiculous things.
Blonde privilege.
Yeah, blonde privilege, right. This is a perfect example, I think, of liberal privilege. You could never get away with that. If these numbers were reversed, if it came out that Republicans said, oh no, please, I don't want to live with a liberal, I don't feel comfortable with that, I'm much more comfortable just surrounding myself with people who are an exact carbon copy of me, I'm more comfortable living in an echo chamber, we would get harangued. But for Democrats, that's okay.
It would be called the White House Correspondents' Dinner, actually. No, I think here's the double standard going forward with this as well. Yeah, no, that we've always known liberals are the real closed-minded part of it, and you and I to call them out, that would make us to be the big in the hate field. The good news is I don't think the American people see it anymore. They're listening to your voice. They're listening to those that are like mine and saying, you know, we're not going to take exactly what's spoon-fed to us by the progressive media anymore.
Right, exactly, because the only thing that they accuse us of are either being bimbos or being racist because they can't answer our arguments, which means we're doing a good job. Scottie, thanks for being here. It's always a delight to talk to you.